Hello and welcome to my office. If you're interested in strategy in pharma, medtech and other life science sectors, then you're in the right place. Please like, subscribe and share this seminar with other life science strategists that you might know. And if you want to know more about me, my work in this area and my 300 other publications, then there's a link to my website in the notes below. So this seminar begins with a meeting that I facilitated recently. Some of the meetings I facilitate are a little dull, others quite the opposite. So in one of these recent meetings, the emotional temperature became very high and the language became really quite strong. By its end, however, this group of smart, passionate executives had learned something. So I'm going to share with you what we talked about in the hope that you will gain from it too. The meeting was about the implications of the Inflation Reduction Act, the recent US legislation that allows Medicare to negotiate on the prices of some innovative drugs. Many in the industry see this act as a negative innovation, and some companies are contesting it in the courts. In my meeting, predictably, my clients were strongly negative, calling it the Innovation Reduction Act. In fact, it took me a little while to remind my clients that they were not in the room to vent their feelings, but to think through the implications of the Act, not just in the US, but globally. We began the meeting by putting the Act in perspective. It only affects some drugs and only Medicare negotiations, which is significant but not the whole market. On the other hand, this Act is part of the global pattern, and payers everywhere are pushing back on the prices of innovative drugs. So, as we talked, the conversation shifted from the implications of this particular American Act to what this generalized global trend actually means. And this was really useful because we came up with a better question. Instead of asking what are the implications of this act, we asked what will be the consequences of governments applying their buyer power to reduce prices around the world. Now that's the question we ought to be asking. So the first answer that the group gave to this question was that there is a simple mechanical relationship between the market and the industry, so that this change, the price pressure, will kill innovation. So then I asked the group, when the market has changed in the past, did our industry work like that, as a machine responding in a simple, predictable way? Now this group was very well educated, very experienced, and it quickly began to suggest parallels from the history of our industry. We talked about the regulatory controls in the 1960s, the emergence of health technology assessment at the turn of this century. We even talked about the shift from folk remedies to research-based medicines in the early 20th century. In every case, the industry adapted in a complex, nuanced way. So I encouraged the executives in the room to question how the industry would evolve. How might the industry adapt to governments applying their buyer power to reduce prices of innovative medicines? It's a different question. Now, answering this question was helped by the finance geek in the room. She was a very bright woman, and she pointed out that profit margins are only the company's proximate goal, not its ultimate goal. Their ultimate goal is risk-adjusted return on investment. So, we rephrase the question again. How might the industry maintain their risk-adjusted return on investment or improve it if governments apply their buyer power to reduce prices? This question moved on our focus from angry criticism of peers onto what was within the industry's zone of control. And this question led to some really good answers. Some were about reducing costs by improving traditional practices, especially in commercial. Some were about improving R&D efficiency, mostly via technological improvements. Some answers were about reducing the risk of improving innovation by improving translation science and by more diligent strategizing. Some answers were about demonstrating value via real-world data, and some were about distributing the value better by making the market work more like a normal market. Now, none of these answers were panaceas, of course, but none of them excluded the others. By the end of the meeting, we had concluded the industry might be able to preserve both risk-adjusted return on investment and innovation by adapting in multiple complementary ways. This was a good, positive discussion, and it allowed me to evolve the question again. And so this time I asked, what would have to be true for the industry to adapt in that way? Now, we were getting down now to the nitty-gritty of business model evolution. Evolution works when change is gradual and the environment sends clear signals. In other words, if governments allow time for the industry to change, if they encourage valuable innovation and they avoid distorting the market, then the industry will be able to adapt. Eventually, we will have a pharmaceutical industry that delivers not only innovation, but delivers the innovations we need at the prices governments can pay, and an industry that can stay economically sustainable while doing so. In this meeting, when the passions had cooled and thinking prevailed, we came to a useful practical conclusion. Today, much of the industry is focused on fighting governmental pressure. A better approach might be to shape that pressure. We should encourage governments to reduce innovation risk, encourage valuable innovation, and to share that value fairly between industry and society. If we can do that, our industry will have been the change that we want to see. Thanks for joining the seminar. If you found it useful, please like, subscribe and share on LinkedIn and forward it to your colleagues. And if you'd like to know more about my research into strategy, business models and the evolution of the life sciences industry, then please get in touch and we can set up a virtual cup of tea.